Friends from the press, good afternoon. Welcome to the regular press conference of the Foreign Ministry. First, I will release a piece of news. Member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi will attend the UN Summit of the Future and a general debate of the 79th session of the UN General Assembly as the special representative of President Xi Jinping from September 22nd and 28th. During that week, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will attend events hosted by China, including events to promote the Global Development Initiative and enhance international cooperation on AI, and multilateral events including the Security Council High-Level Open Debate, the BRICS Foreign Ministers Meeting, and the G20 Foreign Ministers Meeting. He will also meet with the UN Secretary-General, the President of the 79th session of the General Assembly, and the foreign ministers or heads of delegation of relevant countries. Now I will take your question. To follow up on your announcement that member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and the Foreign Minister Wang Yi will attend the UN Summit of the Future and the general debate of the 79th session of the UN General Assembly, what does China expect to achieve through this visit? Member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, as the special representative of President Xi Jinping, will lead a delegation to attend the UN Summit of the Future and the general debate of the 79th session of the UN General Assembly. Foreign Minister Wang Yi will fully elaborate on China's policy and the propositions on the current international landscape, global governance, and the major international and regional issues, and further expound on the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative, and other important visions. The Summit of the Future, as the most important agenda of the UN this year, will have an important impact on the global governance system reform and is highly expected by the international community. China hopes that the Summit of the Future will provide important opportunities for the international community to build a political consensus, enhance solidarity and collaboration, and jointly respond to challenges. China will also strengthen exchanges and cooperation with the UN, relevant countries, and international organizations, call on the international community to uphold true multilateralism, make concerted efforts in dealing with all kinds of global challenges, jointly promote global peace, development, and progress, and advance the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. Next question.
Kyoto News. Today, Consul General of Japan in Guangzhou said today that the boy who was stabbed yesterday in Shenzhen passed away. What's the view of the Chinese government? And what's the motivation of this criminal? We regret and feel saddened by this unfortunate incident, and we express our condolences over the passing of the boy, and our hearts go out to his family. This boy is a Japanese national, and his father and mother are Japanese citizen and Chinese citizen respectively. After the attack, right away the boy was immediately sent to hospital, and Guangdong province sent medical experts to rescue him with all-out efforts. The Chinese side will provide necessary assistance to his family in handling related matters. The case is still under investigation, and the relevant Chinese authorities will handle it in accordance with law. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。日本经济新闻提问。
Nikkei. In June this year, a Japanese parent and a preschool child in Suzhou were stabbed. The spokesperson at that time said that this is an individual case. Is this time an also individual case?
根据目前
As far as I know, this is an individual case, and similar cases may happen at any country. The Chinese side regrets and feels saddened by this incident. China will continue to take effective measures to protect all foreign nationals in China. In such a short period of time, there were 2 incidents of Japanese children being stabbed, and these cases appalled Japanese people and triggered great response. How do you view the influence on China-Japan relations?
刚才我说到了，这是一起个案，中日双方
As I just said, this is an individual case. China and Japan are in communication on the case. We always welcome people from all countries, including Japan, to travel, study, do business, and live in China. We will continue taking effective measures to protect foreigners in China, and we believe individual cases will not affect the exchanges and cooperation between China and Japan. Next one, please.
China Daily. We noted that the Foreign Ministry today released the position paper of the People's Republic of China for the Summit of the Future and the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Can you give us more details on that? Today, changes unseen in a century are unfolding at an accelerated pace. The world has entered a period of turbulence and transformation. The Summit of the Future and the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly will provide important opportunities for the international community to build a political consensus, enhance solidarity and collaboration, and jointly respond to challenges. The position paper fully elaborates on China's proposition and the proposal on peace and security, sustainable development, human rights protection, exchanges between civilizations, sci-tech innovation, and global governance reform, and calls on international community to jointly deliver on the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative, and to promote the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. China stands ready to work with all parties to practice true multilateralism and make new contribution to world peace and development. Next question. Paper.
The paper on September 18th local time, the 10th UN Emergency Special Session adopted a resolution with a vote of 124 nations in favor, 14 against, and 43 abstentions. The resolution calls for Israel to bring to an end its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory no later than 12 months. China voted in favor while the US and Israel against. This is also the first time that Palestine tabled such a resolution draft as permanent observer state. What's your comment? China welcomes and appreciates adoption by an overwhelming margin of the resolution draft on the advisory opinion concerning Israel's presence in the occupied Palestinian territory at the UN Emergency Special Session. China supports the draft and voted in favor and hopes it will be fully implemented. We are now near the first anniversary of the conflict in Gaza. Despite the full emergency special sessions on the question of Palestine held at the UN General Assembly, the full resolutions adopted by the Security Council, the ICG orders on provisional measures, and the repeated strong call of the international community for a ceasefire, the fighting is still raging in Gaza, and civilian casualties skyrocket every day, which caused a severe humanitarian disaster. Ending the occupation is not an option but a legal obligation, and in the fighting is not just a call from one country but international consensus. The implementation of the two-state solution is the only viable way to resolve the question of Palestine. Relevant parties, especially Israel, need to fully implement the relevant resolutions of the Council and the General Assembly, cease the military operations in Gaza without delay, and stop the illegal settlement activities in the Western Bank. Relevant countries needs to show a responsible attitude and take tangible actions for the implementation of relevant resolutions. China will continue to stand on the side of peace and justice, stand with the majority of countries, closely communicate with other parties to play a positive and constructive role to reach a ceasefire, ease the humanitarian crisis and restore peace and stability, and to work for a comprehensive, just, and lasting solution to the question of Palestine at an early date. Next one, please.
Question from AFP.
法新社 美国司法部谴责中国政府试图对于世界上20万个体进行网络攻击，您对此有何评论？
请再重复你的问题。
Please repeat your question.
Sure. AFP.
法新社，美国司法部昨日谴责中国政府试图发动网络攻击，攻击了世界大约20万部设备。您对此有何评论？
我不了解你提到。
I'm not aware of the specifics you mentioned. I would like to say more broadly that China is against all types of counterattack, cyber attack, and we are also against any smearing of China. We urge the U.S. to stop making provocation in cyber security and take concrete actions, work with all countries to uphold the security of cyberspace. Next one, please. Hubei Media.
It's reported that on September 17, several terrorist attacks took place in Bamako, the capital of Mali, and killed and injured many. Was China's comments? China mourns for the victims and extends sympathies to the injured and bereaved. China opposes acts of terrorism in any form. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。共同下提问。
Kyoto News. About the incident, it is said that the Japanese government urges the Chinese government to provide more information. However, some Japanese officials said that the information provided by the Chinese government is not adequate enough. What's your response?
刚才我已经介绍过了，目前
As I just said, the case is under investigation, and the relevant departments of China will handle the case in accordance with law. China and Japan are communicating with each other on this case. Next one, please.
Question for Anadolu Agency.
阿纳多鲁通讯社。黎巴嫩真主党使用的通讯设备通过远程控制爆炸，有大约30个个人以及数百人受伤。您对此有何回应？
中方高度关。
China closely follows the incident. We are against any action that infringes on Lebanon's sovereignty and security, and we are concerned over the escalated situation. We call on relevant parties to uphold the peace and stability of the Middle East.
路透社今日报道，美国没有立即撤回部署在菲律宾的中程导弹系统的计划，尽管中国提出了要求。美国正在测试在地区冲突中使用该系统的可行性。提风系统可以配备能够打击中国目标的巡航导弹，而且今年早些时候用于美菲联合演习，并留在了那里。外交部对此如何回应？
对有关的报道。
China is seriously concerned about the relevant reports on the U.S. deployment of mid-range capability missile system in the Philippines. China has made clear our position more than once. The deployment is a move to turn back the wheel of history. It bravely threatens regional countries' security, incites geopolitical confrontation, and has aroused high vigilance and concerns of countries in the region. We urge relevant country to heed the call of countries in the region, correct the wrongdoing as soon as possible, stop inciting military confrontation, quickly pull out the missile system as publicly pledged, and avoid going further down the wrong path. Next one, please.
阿纳多卢通讯社追问真主党事件。据估计，这一些传呼机是由台湾公司所生产的。那么这些公司和以色列的摩萨德有合作吗？
I'm not aware of the specifics.
我不掌握。
I'm not aware of the specifics.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
法新社，美国的副国务卿坎贝尔昨日称，中国是美国在历史以来最严重的挑战。您对此有何回应？
The remarks of U.S. officials ignore the facts, hypes up China's threat, provocates bloc confrontation, and is full of Cold War zero-sum mentality and ideological discrimination. China strongly deplores it. The U.S. views the international situation from strategic competition and wrongly sees China as the biggest challenge. It is viewing other countries through its own hegemony mindset. It is the serious miscalculation of China and China-U.S. relations. It is not in the interests of the fundamental interests of the two peoples or the common aspirations of the international community. China is committed to having friendly and cooperation with the rest of the world. Its normal relations with other countries does not target any third party. It is the U.S. that strengthens military alliance and forms up the small circles against China, coercions other countries to pick sides. China is committed to a defensive national defense policy. Our development of military capability is to defend our national security, does not target any country who is flaring up its military force, who is resorting to military devices to solve problems. The world sees that clearly. China urges the U.S. side to abandon Cold War mentality and a zero-sum mentality. Stop spreading China's threat theory. Stop distorting China's strategic intention. And implement the President Biden's footnotes and one no intention. Work with China. Pursue the principle of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, and promote the sound, stable, and sustainable development of China-U.S. relations. Next one, please.
Bloomberg.
彭博社，我想问一下，在最近深圳的案件和苏州案件之中，这一些案件的动机是什么？如果没有的话，您能否确保有的时候能够给予日本公众和政府这些信息吗？
我刚才已经阐。
As I had just said, according to what we have collected, this is an individual case. China upholds the rule of law, and the Chinese government brooks no illegal or violence activities and will conduct investigation on the case and bring the criminal to justice in accordance with law. Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other questions?
Noticed that
彭博社有一些财新，还有其他一些媒体关于此案件的报道受到了审查，为什么呢？ I'm not aware of the specifics that you mentioned.
my question will be, do you have any information?
您是否了解苏州案件中的嫌疑人动机呢？因为现在这一动机还没公布。3月份那苏州的案件动机是什么？ As far as I know, the relevant case is still under investigation.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other question? Then that will be the end of today's regular press conference. Thank you.